Coming to you live from my apartment. It's Rob Has a Podcast. And now here's the guy who doubled up his cushions for this one. I'm Rob Cesternino. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to What a Night. What a post-merge we have to talk about here in Survivor 46. So much chaos. And so very excited to have here with us to talk about it all from Survivor 43. Cassidy Clark, the Khaleesi, is here. Cassidy, how are you?
I am doing great, Rob. Honestly, I love that you mentioned chaos because, like I've mentioned before, my middle school MySpace name was Cassidy Chaos, so I always love a little bit of chaos. And I also absolutely love that the episode that I'm here for is titled Spicy Jeff.
Spicy Jeff.
Like I love sassy Jeff Probst, and so I'm so excited to be here when we got a little bit of that sass coming out. So yeah, I'm super stoked to be here. It's been a little bit since we've chatted, but I'm excited.
Jeff in the new era has been such an evolution from where he was with like friendly grandpa in season 41, like, hey everybody, I'm so happy you're here, to now the full spicy Jeff is you're not going to win the challenge. Everybody knows it. To
crazy.
Bringing props to tribal council. So a lot to break down on a night when Hunter goes home, doesn't play his idol.
Another one bites the dust.
Can't wait to talk about it. So we've got a fun one here tonight. Post your questions in the chat, and Cassidy and I will get to them later on in the show tomorrow morning. I'll talk to Hunter, ask him about everything that he was thinking and from his perspective, what happened. And then Stephen Fishback will join me for the Survivor Know-It-Alls on Thursday. So jam-packed Thursday coming up. All right, Cassidy, first, everything good with you on your end? Everything good in your world?
Everything's great. Yeah, I'm living life. I'm just kind of enjoying normalcy for a bit. And yeah, everything's good on my end.
Okay.
How about you, Rob? How's everything going?
I'm doing great. I've been having so much fun these last couple of weeks, really since the merge episode. I feel like that this season has really, I know that there was a lot of complaints early on, but I think that this has been like as good as anything we've gotten in the last couple of years from Survivor these last couple of weeks. And so I'm dying to talk to you about this vote and this tribal council. My first question is, was this a vote split, Cassidy? Was everybody in on this? And was this the new era's answer to Eric Reichenbach?
I hadn't thought about it in the moment. I thought maybe there was just a lot of confusion and chaos going on, and people weren't sure if they were still going to vote for Hunter or for Q. There was a lot of talk about idols tonight, so I think that could have thrown some people off. But if it was, I would love to have seen the potential of that to know for sure. But maybe, that would have been smart. And what is interesting to me is that I think Hunter had talked himself into playing the idol, right? And so he voted for Ben. I'm assuming that vote was...
No. I think he voted for Q. I think that Q was the one vote for Ben.
Oh,
I thought.
okay.
Tell me if I'm off on that. I thought
I missed the scene where they show the votes.
Yeah,
scratch that, because he had talked about voting for Ben, and so I was like, if he only had voted for Q, then this whole thing would have been resolved. But I don't know. What do you think? I thought it was interesting.
So I don't know either. So it's fascinating, and they didn't give it to us, and we won't know unless like and this cast on Twitter, back when you played, that we just had to guess what was going on. They didn't just tell us on social media.
Are the players talking? I'm not on Twitter anymore. But
they talk. They talk, Cassidy.
We were like so scared to say anything. We were really like shaken up by like.
It's the new era. Yeah.
And after 44 kind of blew that out of the water, I think they just don't care anymore.
I don't know.
Nice to share that,
So I don't know anything from Twitter, if anybody from the cast has said anything. But so either one of two things happened, and both are interesting. Was there a bigger plan that everybody, like we saw the different pockets of people, did they all talk and say like, okay, you want to vote for Q, you want to vote for Hunter. All right, let's put 4 votes on Hunter, 4 votes on Q. If he plays his idol, then Q will go home. And if he doesn't, then we'll, on the revote, let's vote for Hunter. I don't know who the 1 vote for Q was on the revote. They didn't show that to us. I don't know if anybody in the chat has a way of finding that out from anywhere yet. But it did seem like on the revote, there was no discussion everybody did seem to, on the revote, go to 7 votes for Hunter.
Yeah. Yeah, and that makes sense. That would lead me to believe that it may have been discussed before. I think that's the smart move. If you don't know if an idol is going to be played, you split the votes. I mean, come on, it's like that's.
But it's so interesting about how that because if everybody was in on it, it really was like Reichenbach levels of throwing Hunter like all over the place and being confused at the tribal council. Now, I feel for Hunter a little bit. He got unlucky, I thought, in where he was sitting at the tribal council.
Okay.
He was all the way to the end, and he really just had like Kenzie and Tiffany to like, and Tiffany was a Hunter vote.
Yeah.
Kenzie was a Q vote.
Yep.
But it seems so interesting to me that it was Tiffany and the 3 Siga people that voted for Hunter. Was that an alliance that came together in the episode?
Yeah, no, that's so true. Because I mean, in the episode, it did appear that Tiffany was pretty against Q, and like gung ho on Q going home. I don't know, and I do wonder sometimes because when I played, like they would just tell us our seating and it would change every time, as I'm sure you know. And so I do wonder if that was intentional on production's part or not. Maybe just like a random accident, like an unfortunate thing where he could, because I know he was trying to talk to people during the tribal.
Yeah, like basically like passing notes.
Yeah. I know that I never found an idol, so I can't imagine what it feels like to be sitting there and like be like, do I play it? Do I not? Because like that's such power in the game and you want to hold on to it for as long as you can. But it always is such a bummer to see people go home with idols in their pockets that could have saved themselves, you know? But I know that must be such a difficult decision to make in the moment. I do wish that he had played it, you know, it would have been interesting, but Q lives to fight another day now. So
yeah. And Q, again, I don't know if he knew anything about that. I mean, he voted for Ben, but he just like looked so happy, like the cat that swallowed the canary at the end of the tribal council, that I can't believe these people are leaving me in the game again. I love this tribal council just in terms of like the way that they put it all together, Cassidy. Like you really were seeing everything from Hunter's POV. And I can't remember another time at a tribal council where like Jeff is like sort of like in the background, sort of like the Charlie Brown like teacher, just like wah, 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 wah. And we're really just seeing the conversations that Hunter is trying to get Liz's attention. He's saying to Charlie, he's saying to Tiffany, he's saying to Venus, he's saying to Kenzie, I'm good, right? It's good, everything's good, right?
Yeah. Gosh, I feel like when you need to do that, when you feel that like desperate to talk to people in tribal, you should probably just play your idol. You know what I mean?
They all told him. They all said, you're good.
I know, but he had that feeling, you know, he had that. That's why he was so nervous. He was like, he had that feeling that it was going to go wrong. And it did, you know, I think he should have listened to that intuition, because he wouldn't have been asking them and trying to get everybody's attention to double check if he didn't have that sinking feeling that it was like, you know, it was a blindside.
And I really do. I think that everybody had to have been in on it, because then I think that like if this was and I don't know, and we saw that Liz looks upset. Maybe Liz wasn't in on it. Maybe she was the only person, but even like, you know, that it seems like that then there would be 2 sides after this if everybody was not in on it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, yeah, that's interesting to see how if it wasn't planned before, like how the 2 sides split up, or if it was just like split that way because of like the chaos and the confusion and people were just like decided to go one way or the other.
Yeah.
But it was such a close split that I don't know, maybe it was orchestrated. That would be, you know, it'd be interesting to find out next episode. I hope that if it was, we can kind of see the inner workings of that and maybe who actually orchestrated that plan.
Yeah.
Because I think that would be helpful to kind of figure out what went down. But yeah, it was a good tribal. And the popcorn, man, I wish I got popcorn at tribal. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I mean, I like this.
Bad for them because they don't have rice, you know.
I like this turn from Jeff, where I kind of feel like that sometimes over the course of like Survivor history, like I feel like that Jeff is a little bit like, hey, like, why did you guys blindside this person? Like sometimes like he gives like that little speech after they vote somebody out. It's like, well, somebody here just made a huge mistake voting and blindsiding somebody. Like, I like that he's sort of like encouraging them like, hey, that was great. More of that, please.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you know, Jeff loves the blindsides. He loves the drama. I mean, how could he not? That's what makes the show great. That's what makes it so entertaining for all of us. So I do love this. Like, I think Jeff is sort of, he's shifting a little bit in like the way he interacts with players, and he's kind of bringing back a little bit of the old school Jeff, which I love that. So I'm excited to see. And he's kind of, he's doing things he's never done before, which is really interesting. Like the bringing the popcorn and the pillow, like that's just funny. And I love that he's not staying stagnant. And sometimes a game, I think, with the same pattern can get a little bit stagnant. So even these minor tweaks, I think, help just make the game more exciting, more interesting to watch.
Yeah. I don't know if I really got the pillow. I feel like that, you know, it was so exciting. I don't know why you needed to get like so comfortable. Like I think he may have just wanted to bring in a pillow for a long time and thought,
yeah, this is my moment
to bring the pillow in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about Hunter and what you thought of him overall this season?
Yeah. So Hunter was interesting to me. I think that like on the Siga tribe, right? That was his original.
No, Nami.
Nami.
What a disaster for Nami. Now
Yeah,
Soda and Kevin and Hunter, the top 3 from that group.
That's what I'm saying. It's interesting. It's like, I'm sure for Venus it feels great because all of her
Yes.
top predators against her for the game have kind of been knocked out one after the other. So I'm sure she feels pretty great about that. But yeah, it seems like he was kind of sitting pretty for a while on that tribe. You know, they hadn't had to go to tribal council, and it seemed like he had the chops to become a really good player. And I think that, you know, just a few things went wrong with him, like last vote, kind of being left on the outs. And then I think, like, you know, with Hunter being such a physical threat and being likable and being kind of that golden boy, that doesn't always bode well in the game of Survivor. Unfortunately, there's certain archetypes that like struggle more at different phases of the game. Like, like him is going to do well and be pretty protected and insulated, I think, at the beginning of the game. And then once you hit merge, it definitely gets more tricky for his type of player. And I think people were seeing him as a physical threat, as they should have. Like, I mean, he was close to winning many of those immunity idols. So I really feel like his days were numbered, unless he could just kind of go on a winning streak or continue to, or some other kind of dynamics really shifted in the game. But he did well, I think, for the time that he had. It just, you know, he got kind of a few bumps in the road and then it sent him home. You know, that happens in the game.
He was definitely like on like a good track for the pre-merge. But, you know, I had said last week, I saw a lot of like red flags last week from Hunter, where I really felt like that. I don't think that this guy has it. You know, he is great at the challenges, we know, and he's great as a survivalist. But I kind of thought that he was like maybe like a one-trick pony. Like, does he have any game? And I really felt that way coming out of last week's episode. And then even in this episode, I thought that, I don't know why after that tribal council, like it seemed like that he was kind of rude to Venus for no reason. Even like, Q, I'm done with you. Like, well, who are you working with now, Hunter?
Yeah. And Q was kind of in the same boat. He's like, I'm done with them. I'm done with them. Now I'm free. It's like, okay, but you need people to get farther in the game. Yeah, no, I agree. I think that he did have kind of a hard fall from the golden days of pre-merge. And I do think that the way that Venus was treated by, honestly, her whole tribe kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I didn't love that. And now I don't know all of the dynamics, and I don't know how she obviously has struggled a little bit to integrate herself socially, but to me, it feels like it was a little bit unfair. And it was interesting to see that kind of little argument. I don't know. Yeah, I do think that like we didn't get to see a lot of his strategic game, so maybe he just wasn't a strategist. And not everybody is like a super strategist. You know, some people have strengths.
Sure, and that's okay, and that's why I thought he was in like such a good spot with Tevin as a partner. I thought that like they were sort of like you know, two parts that like were more than the sum of them together. And going back to last week, I know the hindsight is 2020, but should he have played his idol for Tevin at that tribal council last week, where people said, okay, and it's a hard decision. He's going to need that idol down the road. But if Tevin is still there, like, I feel like he has a puncher's chance to maybe still figure something out. Whereas without Tevin, as we saw tonight, he was a sitting duck the first time that he didn't win the immunity.
Yeah, that's very true. I didn't even think about, at the time, I guess I kind of had forgotten about his idol, you know. I think that came up earlier. Maybe, I don't know. I'm not sure if it was mentioned last episode or not. But that is a good point. I mean, I think it could have definitely helped him to further himself at least a little bit in this game, to have somebody having his back, and sort of like a shield, because Kevin was such a social threat and everybody liked him. And I do think that like it's obviously better to have your duo than to not. But I think that's such a tough decision in the game when it's like, we've seen in the past people play their idol for somebody else and then they're left vulnerable and go home like another episode. So I think that's a difficult decision, but I mean, it's definitely something to consider. And now that we know the outcome that he went home next, maybe it was a good idea.
Yeah. And again, hindsight is perfect. We never get it wrong when we look back. Cassidy, I really want to get your opinion on Kenzie and some of the things that she had going on tonight. I thought it was so interesting that it seemed like that out of nowhere, Hunter was calling her his number one, which I think speaks to like how good she is at building these relationships.
Yes, I agree. I've mentioned this before. Like I love Kenzie. I feel like she's like a better version of like the game I wanted to play. I find like a lot
Mermaid Dragon.
Yes. Oh my, I would have killed for that nickname. Like I absolutely love that so much. And I think that she is a really strong player, and she's strong, and she can be firm with people, but she also knows how to be empathetic and kind and speak to people in a way that I think really gets people to respect her and to like her. And I think that's like a huge thing in the game, where you can have like conversations with people. You can be a strong woman and a strong player, but not rub people the wrong way at the same time. And I think that she's really good at doing that, at like, I don't know, just like getting people to like her and to want to work with her and trust her. And but not in a way that's too obvious, like how Tevin was like so social and likable, but it's so glaringly obvious that he is that way and that he's good at that. And I think she's better at doing that on the sly a little more. And I think that's going to serve her a lot. And I honestly think that she has a good shot at this point of potentially like getting to the end and winning. I mean, she has Tiffany there that's kind of shielding her a little bit. And like I said, like, yeah, if she was able to get Hunter to think that he was desperate for number one at that point, I think, because he lost Kevin, but still it does show a lot about, like what she's capable of.
Now, is it wrong that I really hope that Kenzie was in on the plan? Because there's just like two ways to read that tribal council, where if Kenzie, if Venus, if Liz, if these people were in on the plan, I just think that this tribal council was even more incredible, where they're like, Hunter, stop.
Yeah.
You're fine.
Yes.
You're fine. We know Tiffany lied to him. We know Charlie lied to him. Did the rest of them, because Kenzie really, she said that I voted Q. I voted Q.
Yeah.
It wasn't me.
I would love to know. I kind of want to reach out to her and pick her brain a little bit and see if that is what the case was. I think that do we know if she found out during the episode that yes, because she knew that Tiffany was talking about playing her idol. She knew that. So therefore she probably knew that they were gonna sway, maybe potentially push the votes onto Hunter. So I think she knew whether
she definitely knew about that. People
knew that people were So I think like for her saying he's like, there was a moment she was carrying firewood and he asked her and she's like, I mean, as far as I know, like we're good. And I thought like she played that really well. It felt very genuine to me. But I think she knew that it wasn't all good with him, you know? Now, whether she voted Q, do you know, did she vote Q?
She did vote Q, yes.
Okay. I think that if they did decide to split the votes, maybe she was like, I'll take Q, because I remember when we would split votes, like I would prefer to split a vote into somebody that I didn't necessarily like as much, or could potentially, like, if they stayed, like, can I still work with them? She probably felt like the Q bridge was kind of burned already. And she's like, well, Hunter stays and this works out.
Go enjoy your tater tots, I think she said.
And he'll be reliant on me. So I think that was,
okay. All right. So staying with Kenzie, what did you think of Kenzie's idea in this episode that said, hey, all right, I got to make my move now. I want to vote for Tiffany, my number one ally. She's not going to see it coming. This is the time. It's day 17. What did you make of that? Because that's such a big part of Survivor 43, of people. When do you turn on your number one ally? It's really, it comes up a lot in that season. So what do you think about this? Because I kind of feel like that we just saw it with Soda and Tevin just a couple of weeks ago, and it didn't work out there. Was this too early for Kenzie to be targeting Tiffany?
Yeah, it's interesting. This kind of brings back some deja vu from my season a little bit, because there was a moment when I realized like I may have to turn on Carla, and in order to just to differentiate our games and in order to make a big move, and I knew that she had an idol too, and I was nervous about that. So I feel like it's sort of mirroring itself in this way, and so I understand where Kenzie is coming from. Now, if it gets out to Tiffany, that could backfire on her the same way it kind of got out to Carla eventually, that I was targeting her, which I think sort of snowballed some things that happened later in the season.
Yeah.
I think it's hard. Like if you can't make the plan happen then, it runs the risk of them finding out later, and that can just cause you a whole world of hurt if you're not careful. So I think it may have, I mean, I think that she just felt like the time was right. There was an opening. I don't think she realized Tiffany would be so eager to play her idol. I think it seems like, to me, I thought Tiffany would want to hold on to it a little bit longer and wouldn't be so like, I just want to get rid of it. Even if it's like a waste, I want to get rid of it. I was kind of surprised about that. And I think maybe Kenzie felt similarly, like she didn't expect that. Like because Tiffany's a player, obviously, and she's competitive and she wants to stay in the game. And I understand the sentiment of like feeling like this is a huge target. I just want to get off of my back. And honestly, she didn't even end up playing it. So that was kind of that was a good call on her part. But now I don't know how it's gonna backfire, because if Charlie and Maria or whatever, if like, the tides turn so fast in the game, and if the group that she talked to about turning on Tiffany decides to tell Tiffany for whatever reason they want to target Kenzie, or just slips, that could definitely be danger for her down the road. So I don't know. I guess
for sure.
Sure.
And it didn't happen. And, and Kenzie knows about Tiffany's idol, and for her to like go ahead and take that shot. Now, I personally, I felt like it was too early, but I also want to be sensitive to, that the players that are out there, it's day 17. There's only 9 days left in the game. And I feel like that they want to put points up on the board, because they feel like, and it seems like that a lot of them really feel this pressure of, hey, I need to have my moves for when I get to the final tribal council to be able to see that I did these things. And especially if you're Kenzie and you want to differentiate, there's so much Yanu 3. You were with Q and with Tiffany, and she doesn't want people to say that she rode their coattails to get there. I do feel like that there is this pressure on her, but then it is like this, big thing that's out there now that Charlie and Maria know that she wanted to take out Tiffany.
Yeah. And I think it's scary because like, I think she may have also been worried. I don't know if she heard Maria wanted to go after Tiff or not. I feel like that may have been out there, but I'm not sure. And if it was, she could have felt like this is my move to take this vote for myself, rather than to let Maria and Charlie or somebody else take hold of it and get credit for voting Tiffany out. So maybe she felt that kind of pressure there. But at the same time, she also may have felt like this was the right time, because since there is 9 days left, Tiffany may have wanted to hold on to her idol longer, as far as Kenzie knew, and I think she decided to make that move before she realized that Tiffany just wanted to get rid of it. I think maybe she was like, if we get closer to the end, there's a higher chance that Tiffany's going to play it than right now, when she feels more insulated and she feels like I want to hold on to this for like the later, when things get really intense later on in the game. But it is still kind of early. It's 9 days, but there were still 9 people left at the time. So I don't know. Yeah.
Okay. So Maria said in confessional, like, well, great. Kenzie wants to get rid of Tiffany. That's my move. That's going to be my big move to get out Tiffany. We also saw Liz open up the episode, and she was very upset that she made her move to take out Tevin.
Yeah.
And now, because of Q, nobody was even talking about the move that Liz made. And I would just love to, hear your perspective on this as somebody who goes to a final tribal council. That, how important is it for these players who probably, watched your season and say like, oh, the jury, that they have this checklist of things they want to see, and if I don't do them, then they're going to hold it against me at the end of the game.
Yeah.
That could you speak to that kind of pressure that these players are having about I need to have moves at this point?
Yeah, I can imagine Liz's frustration a little bit, because she did kind of put her neck out there to turn on Tevin and to make that vote happen, and then for Q to do this whole random crazy blow up and just get everybody talking about him. I could understand why she felt like her move was like pushed into the shadows a little bit. Now I think that like if she gets to final tribal and she can, word it right and like, kind of remind people of that, then maybe that will hold some sway. But I understand how like she feels like she's not going to get the respect she deserves because that's not what people are talking about now. They're talking about Q and like they're not even really thinking about how Liz orchestrated this. But at the same time, Q kind of, if there was going to be a target on her back after that vote for making a move, then you could look at it.
Yeah.
Q sort of took the heat off of that, and then she can just put that in her pocket for later. And everybody already forgot that she kind of did that until the end. She can bring it back up. So it's just kind of how you see it and how you're able to get the jury to perceive it at the end. And also, like, I think that the respect that the players have for you as a person and as a player matters too.
Yes.
I do think that like when Liz at the beginning talked a lot about her businesses and the millions of dollars that she's made and things like that, I think that could cause her trouble later. And I almost wish she hadn't done that, because now I feel like even if she gets to the end, it's going to be hard to sell people and wanting to give her the money when they already know that she's like a millionaire, if that makes sense. And I wonder if that and like some of her other quirks will make this move not seem as big to some people. But I don't know. I mean, I totally understand why she would be frustrated by that. What do you think?
But I thought, like you said, that coming into this week, wow, what a lucky break for Liz, where now because we've seen it so many times in the new era where the pendulum swings right back the other way. Like with Tevin, okay, you made a move, now you've got to go. And for Liz, wow, what luck.
Yeah.
You did her solid. She can now go back and hide. But Liz is feeling like I'm not going to get the credit. I wanted to ask you about another theory I've had about Survivor in the new era. I think that there are some people that they don't need to make any big moves. I feel like that there are some players, they could just get to the end. And because they are regarded as like one of these people that you see at Ponderosa, that you feel like, all right, that person, you got to watch out for that person. You got to watch out for that person. And I think that Tevin, for example, is like one of these people. And maybe Kenzie is one of these people where it's just like, that they're so good. They're so dangerous. Like, I feel like that if you have that, if you're held in that regard, you almost don't need to make a move. I feel like your move is like, I got to the end. You didn't get me out. Look at me. You should have got me out. You're right. You're like, well, how did we miss this? How did you get here? But I think that Liz is somebody who's definitely not in that camp.
Yeah.
And I think she realizes it, that like, okay, I've been disregarded. And I do need to put these points on the board. And it does seem like it's getting to her.
Yeah, no, and that's so true. And it's almost like, I feel like a psychological phenomenon that could be studied about like human nature and how we perceive people, because that's kind of how I felt at the end. Like with the people that I was with, I almost felt like there was nothing I could have done. I mean, obviously, like there were maybe a few bigger moves I could have made, but I do feel like if I was somebody else, or if I had just been a person that like gained a little bit more respect from people, or was just seen as a bigger threat, like it would have been, it wouldn't have been so difficult for me at the end.
Yeah.
And I do feel like for other people, there was people that I remember in my season, and I would like look at them and they hadn't even really done anything, and I'm like, they could win. Like, I don't know why, and it's
they
so,
show up
so
at Ponderosa. You think that?
Like, it's so interesting. And like, God, I wish I was one of those people, because I'd be a millionaire right now. But yeah, it's like, so sometimes based on who you are and your personality and how people perceive you, you have to like work a little bit harder or just navigate the game in a completely different way. And that's another reason why Survivor is so interesting. But another reason why it's kind of frustrating too, especially if you're one of those people that don't fall in that category. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think that it's something that like we should really look at more in the new era of these people that like, because we do all these like, preseason interviews and everybody's like,
I don't know. Is it the Riz? Is that what you call it?
I don't know if it's necessarily like it's some combination of like Riz plus just like presence. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but we need more research is needed.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about Q, because here he is, and somehow he's survived again this week. And I don't even know if he's like, I would have predicted he's going home tonight. He survived this vote, and he might be here for the long haul. He could be headed to the final three.
I agree. In my mind, if I'm there, I'm like, Q's not a threat anymore. To me, Q's not a threat. Like, why even waste our time on him? Because I just feel like unfortunately, with the shenanigans of last tribal, he's lost a lot of people's respect.
Yep.
And if people don't respect you, they're not going to want to give you the $1 million at the end, like, period. And he angered a lot of people, even his closest allies. So it's going to be a very uphill battle for him to potentially win. Like, I'm not sure that he has a shot anymore. But I think he kind of knows it too. I mean, look, there could be a miracle, but I think he kind of knows it too. And he's just like, let's just have fun for the rest and let's just cause chaos. But the more that he does to like, kind of, unless he just annoys people to that point where they're like, all right, we just got to get him out because he's causing chaos unnecessarily. I think that he has a good shot of making it to the end just because people are like, well, now he's not a threat. Move on. Let's see who's next. There's plenty of other threats right now in the game besides Q. So maybe he just got his ticket to the end, and he may not win, but I mean,
but he's such a wild card. It would be so fun to have him around. Now, I have to say, last week I talked a lot on the podcast. Did Q want to quit, or was Q making a move? And I really felt, I think he's making a move. I don't know what it is, and I had a lot of theories. And then when I turned on this episode tonight, like, all right, here we go. Let's find out what old Q was up to. And he's like, yeah, I just tried to fall on the sword myself. Q, what the hell, guys?
I have a theory. It was similar when before watching this episode, I had basically the same sentiment that Ben did when first of all, okay, I just want to say this. I love Ben's confessionals. Honestly, there's a lot of really good people, or a lot of good confessionalists, is that the word?
Yeah.
In this season. Ben's one of my favorites. He's always got just something funny to say. And like, I love the way he words things. So I wouldn't have put it as funny or eloquently as maybe he did. But the way he said it about like, he's just afraid of how he fumbled and like the pieces he's going to have to pick up when he comes back. And he's just trying to kind of take an easy way out right now. And for me, when I saw it, I was like, I don't think he's trying. Like, I don't think that like what he's doing is like, maybe in his head, he's telling himself he's being noble, but I really felt like watching it, he was afraid because he knew that he tried to make a big move and he turned on his closest ally, Tiffany, and told people about her idol. And I think that he was afraid of, now this plan isn't working out. There's going to be big repercussions back at camp. And I think maybe he was hungry too. Maybe he just like wanted to eat that night and he's like, fuck it, I'll just go home. I don't know. I didn't feel like, I felt like he was afraid of what he was going to have to face, and knowing he was going to be on the bottom and knowing that his closest ally was going to find out.
Yeah. And it's not like, hey, you didn't get me. I got myself. I'm just leaving.
Because Ryan tried to pull that shit too in my season. And it was different. It was more like he was trying to make a move where he was going to target me, but he was pulling the whole, I want you guys to go on. You guys should have the chance to go play the game. Just if it has to be me, it has to be me. He like did that whole spiel too. And I was like
pre-merge, right?
It was pre-merge, yes. But it was like, to me, that like kind of reminded me a little bit of that, of like just trying to fall on your sword nobly. But it's like, that is not noble. That is not, to me, that is not, you're not dishonorable for not doing that in the game of Survivor, because people come into this game and there's expectations, and there is a different sort of like standard that you hold yourself to when you play the game of Survivor. You kind of check your morals and like your things at the door a little bit.
Yeah.
To win the $1 million, you do what you have to do, and you go in and you know that people are going to play shady and people are going to play dirty sometimes, and that's kind of the fun of the game too. And so I feel like going in with this, like, I'm just going to be honorable and noble and all that, that's kind of foolish gameplay to me, because everybody else knows that they'll do whatever it takes, and that's okay in this game. It's maybe not okay in the real world, but in this game, the rules are different. Yeah. So I just like, it's $1 million. Like, don't go home. No. Yeah. I don't know. I mean,
let me shout out Christian, who's in the chat. He was here with me last week. He said, I feel vindicated by the Q-volation that in this episode, he was actually quitting. Yeah. You know what? I was wrong. I'm like Jeff. I gotta own that. I gotta own it. I got it wrong. I thought Q made a move. Although Q on Twitter all week has been talking about how that he was making a move.
Okay.
So, but Q in the episode said he wanted to quit.
What the intentions were with the move?
No, he said,
by the way,
he's got a lot going on. He's got the Q skirt. He's going to Best Buy. He's got a lot. Okay.
And to be fair to him, like they haven't had rice that guy had a tough go for the pre-merge. I mean, I think all of Yanu did. He's probably just like, he just did something in the moment and then was like, what am I doing? And then just had to like kind of play it off and like kind of keep going with it. And sometimes you just do something stupid and you're like, I don't know what I'm doing or why I'm doing it. And I'm just doing it. And it, like, you know, we all have those moments. So like,
yeah,
you know, you're there.
He wanted to stay now. Okay. I want to talk to you a little bit about Venus, and she's had such an interesting journey to this point, but it is like where maybe it seemed improbable a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
Is Venus starting to get some footing here?
Yes, I honestly, I love it. And I relate a little bit to her. I didn't get quite the same reception, but like the getting targeted constantly was something that I kind of experienced in the game, whether I knew it or not. You know, my name was kind of was thrown around a lot during the game. And so I get that feeling of like surviving another night. You're like, shit, I'm still here. Oh my God. You know, and I think she's had it even more than I did and all that. But like, it's kind of cool to see her come up a little bit, you know, and her confessionals are really funny too. I think she called them like dumb meatheads, which is just like,
yeah. I mean, it's been fun for her that, you know, she's got like a little bit like of this like Arya Stark trajectory of like, okay, all the people from Nami that did her wrong, Soda and Tevin and Hunter, and now back to back to back. They're all gone, and maybe she was not the person who orchestrated quite the Soda boot, but you know, she was right there in the Tevin boot. You know, it remains to be seen
how good it feels to have people that are gunning for you get voted out back to back. Like it feels good, you know. And
she's probably going to be the last Nami standing.
Yeah, who's left?
Liz.
Yeah, I'm all for Venus, you know. I love the underdog. I love that she, you know, she's stayed strong. It must have been really difficult. I mean, I feel like I bonded a lot with my tribe. And so it must have been really difficult to feel ostracized at the beginning. And luckily they didn't have to go to tribal, but still that like it really felt like they kind of had chosen her as like the pariah of the group, which must have been really difficult. So I'm proud of her for staying strong and fighting through it. And it seems like it's coming out in her favor, you know, whether she can make some moves to win. I think that there's still potential for her. And good for her, you know, for staying strong.
Yeah. What do you think she needs to do now?
Meathead on his way out the door.
Yeah.
What do I think? What
Venus needs to do now?
I don't know. You know, I struggle to. It's hard for me to know, like, if any of her tribe would vote for her at the end. There is a chance that they could see her getting through all that and give her the respect and the accolades for it. And there's also a chance that they could be sour towards her because they didn't really like her from the get-go. So I think that there is a chance that they could all get together and be like, you know what, Venus, she did it, you know, and get votes from her tribe.
So maybe, okay, so let's put her in the final three with Q. Okay. And now, so now maybe she's looking better to this jury.
Yeah. I think there's room for her to make moves. I mean, there's still 8 people in the game. Yeah. I think maybe she can win an immunity. Not that I think that counts for much anymore, unfortunately for me.
How many, Cassidy, does she have to win?
More than 3, I think.
Okay, so if she wins out.
If she wins a couple, and then maybe somehow she can get some traction and make a move or two. I mean, there's a shot. Like if her tribe decides to give her credit for being the last one standing, I still think there's hope. I mean, I think there are people that maybe have a better shot, but who knows if they're going to make it to the end.
I kind of feel maybe Venus, Liz, Q. Maybe.
Oh, yes. I think.
Like maybe,
yes.
Maybe. Okay.
That may be the chance. But
I'd love to talk about the Charlie and Maria duo. Now, last week there I don't know if you saw this, that there was a secret scene that was where Maria really was very tough on Ben coming back from the tribal council where Tim went home, about basically accusing him of having the idol. It made me feel like, okay, Siga is done. Siga's not working together as a 3. However, in this episode, I feel like that we got to see Maria and Charlie and Ben seem like they're all on the same page.
Okay. I'm struggling to remember when that scene was. I feel like I don't remember her
Yeah.
getting.
So it was a secret scene from
Oh, it was
last
a
week's
secret
episode.
scene.
Yeah. And it wasn't in the episode, so maybe it ultimately ends up not being that important.
I think
But so this group, they all are votes on Hunter tonight.
Okay.
It seems like that, we saw them talking with both Kenzie and both with Tiffany. Kenzie comes to this group, and these are the people she wants to blindside Tiffany with. Although then this is also the same group that's talking with Tiffany about voting out Hunter. And it really feels like this is the three that's right in the middle.
Yeah.
Maria, Charlie, and Ben.
Yes. I think that they're in a pretty good spot. I feel like there's a lot of noise outside of the group and a lot of drama outside of the group that is causing people's eyes to shift. I think Charlie and Maria are in a really good spot until people start to be like, they're a duo, like they're strong. That eventually is going to happen, I believe. Now whether they can navigate that and get to the end, I could see them two getting to the end. Maybe they do slide along through the middle the whole time. I mean, I really could see that. I think that they're in a good spot and they're playing a good game. And they've got Ben, who was a target for a little bit, but now I don't think he's really seen as much of a target. Maybe he's got that like goofball energy going for him, and he can kind of ride that out.
Yeah.
I do think that they're probably, in my mind, I think Maria, Charlie, and maybe Kenzie are in the best spots right now. Maybe Ben too. I don't know. Yeah, I think
it was interesting. Hunter said, "Okay, let's go for Ben tonight." That of those three, and Charlie was immune, but that was what he wanted to do. He felt like that they really feel like that Ben is this huge threat.
Yeah, I mean, he's so lovable, so I could see that. But I haven't really heard, besides like maybe back in the day, maybe a few votes ago, somebody was going after Ben, but he managed to escape by that. Other than that, it didn't seem like he was on people's radar too much. But maybe that will come into play again. Maybe that's why they even brought it up in the episode, because Hunter didn't even end up voting, or it could have been a red herring as well for the editing team. But like, I don't know. I mean, yeah, Ben is a threat in my eyes, but I don't know how big of a threat he is with Tiffany still in the game. I guess now that Hunter's gone, yeah, I mean, maybe he could be a physical threat too. What do you think?
As far as Ben, I haven't seen him perform well in the challenges. I don't think that they're too worried about him, but they do feel like that he's just so likable and like lovable. Like if he gets to the end, and I think that people also seem to think that he has an idol, that they think that he has that beware advantage, the one that Jem got voted out with. I think that people they still think he has that idol. I think
that sucks. That really would suck to like have everybody think you have something and you don't. You're just like, shit.
But maybe it's protecting him. Maybe it's like people are afraid to go after him.
That's so true. That's so true. Yeah. I mean, that definitely adds another element into it where you consider like, do we even want to go for this person? Is he even worth it? That's so true.
I want to ask you about this challenge. Now, in your season, they did this challenge, but everybody had to be in pairs. The last two seasons they've done it. Okay, get into groups of 3 to do this. Now, I thought this was actually a very interesting strategy that Q brought up. I don't think it came up last season of, hey, Charlie and Maria, you're working with Hunter. Throw the challenge so Hunter can't win.
Yeah.
And I said, this is a great idea.
Yeah. I guess I feel.
Would you do this, Cassidy? Would you?
No, I wouldn't throw a challenge. For me, it's like the chance to win immunity. And for Charlie, imagine if he had thrown it. He wouldn't have won. I just think that you get so precious few chances to fight for an immunity necklace. And like you take them where you can get them and when you can get them. And I just feel like it wouldn't be worth it to me if I was Charlie or Maria, because I wouldn't feel in their position. Obviously, anything can happen in the game, but I wouldn't feel immediately under fire if I was either of them. And so I would feel like even if Hunter wins, there are other targets we can go after. I don't think anybody's specifically gonna go for us right now. I mean, and obviously you never know for sure, but I don't ever think it's worth it to throw a challenge. Like I just don't, because I feel like it never works out when people do.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like when has it really worked out? I feel like it's worked out less often than it has worked.
Well, this is just such an interesting spot. And Jeff even alluded to it with this in this group of 3. Well, you want to be in a group of 3 that you feel like you can win the challenge with, but you also have to make sure that you're not with people that are going to try to sandbag you if you're a big challenge person.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, very, very interesting. Now that wasn't a concern with you guys, right? When you were just in pairs of 2.
No, not really.
This is when Gabler ends up winning the immunity, right? This
I
is like,
think it was like our first immunity challenge.
yeah,
But people weren't really quite thinking there yet.
I'm doing this for my dog, and I'm doing this for Arkansas.
Yeah, I feel like that would be more like, say we're in like final 6 and it's like 3-3, and like somebody who always just keeps winning, like somebody like Cody or that I'm like extremely physically threatened by was on my team, maybe, but
yeah,
you'd have to be a huge threat, and this would have to be my only chance to get you out, or I'd have to be convinced of that to even consider throwing it. But then again, I felt like I had a decent shot at winning the challenges, or like kind of. So if I felt like I had a shot, maybe I would throw it. Who was my partner? My partner was Carla.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to win, you know? So I was just like, I wasn't even, and we were still working together at that time. So it wasn't even a thought in my mind personally.
The only thing I remember is I remember Gabler and all of his shout outs. And I remember that Noelle got caught in the nets.
Yeah. I was first out of the hole.
Yeah.
People called it inappropriate things online, but, but yeah, that was a funny challenge. Gabler went on like, honestly, you have to kind of do that to distract yourself from the pain sometimes, especially if it's like a long challenge. He shouted out my cat Moonkai. I was so excited about that. I didn't make air, but
who got the shout out?
He shouted out a lot of people, but I asked him to shout out Moonkai, which is like one of my cats, and he did. And I wish I had made air, but
well, you did it tonight.
Yes. Shout out wherever you are.
She's on the podcast.
Like all up in my lap and like walking in front of the screen, so she's being polite tonight.
Yeah, pretty good.
I did want to. There was something about this challenge. Oh, I feel like we should talk about how sassy Jeff was.
Yes. What do you think about this? When Jeff is saying, "Okay, the Hugh and Venus and Liz, you got no chance."
My heart would be broken. I'd be like, I might as well not even compete if you don't even believe in me. You don't think I have a shot? Like what? That would just kill my self-esteem. Or I mean, maybe, you know, it also might fuel me to like want to do better, but I feel like Jeff is usually pretty fair about everybody has a chance. Get up off the couch. Right. Anybody can win this game. Anybody can do it. And then he says, you can't do it.
Right. Cassidy, what's happened to Jeff since 5 days ago when they did the merge challenge? And remember the teams when it was like all the guys versus Charlie and all the women? And Jeff's like, hey, look, you never know. It could happen. Like it was like that was when everybody's like, Jeff, they have no chance. What are you talking about? Now all of a sudden he's picking on like Q and Venus has actually been pretty good in the challenges. And like I didn't think it was like, oh my God, they have no chance.
I didn't think it was that skewed.
Like they have freaking Q on a team of 3.
Yeah, I was confused by that. Maybe he like read too many tweets from that other challenge and everybody was like, what are you talking about, Jeff? And so maybe he was trying to make like a joke like about that, but it just didn't, I don't know. It didn't come off that well. I was like, damn, dude, that's tough.
Yeah. Yeah. Charlie ends up winning immunity. So kudos, Charlie. But what a big night for Charlie. He wins immunity. And then also there was a Taylor Swift commercial for Target.
Was there?
Yes.
I didn't see that one. I think, I don't know.
Is this the Charlie factor? Is it because of Charlie's shout outs for Taylor Swift that Taylor's people said, put my ad on during Survivor?
Wow. I mean, I feel like Charlie could eventually end up meeting Taylor Swift from this, you know?
Because the number one place
on board for Survivor, this show's it's on
imagine Sia is shook right now to think that there's Taylor Swift money coming out there.
Swift Award? Oh my God. All this great stuff is coming out after my season. The freaking preview or the intro again. We got the hour and a half with the Taylor Swift commercials. I mean, come on.
Yeah, Cassidy, all I know is that, you know, I was on the fence if I was going to get Tortured Poets Department. I'm going out to Target tomorrow to go buy it. That's where I buy all my music. Target.
Amazing. Yeah, right? I know it's what is it, like CD or what? How do
I
you
don't
buy
know.
movies and talk-
I don't know. I need to. That's where I buy all my media at Target. I'm gonna get the tape.
Yeah. Oh my God. I would love to have like an old school cassette player.
And then, well, that's what you type on your typewriter, and then you listen to
I do
Taylor
have a
on
typewriter,
vinyl.
actually. I do type on it. And
Yeah.
that's not a joke.
Okay. Let's take some questions from the listeners. Okay.
Hey,
Yeah. Leah wants to know, how are the bathrooms there at Target? I've got to ask you. Okay. All right. Lots to talk about from this episode. All right. How about Elizabeth wants to know, Hunter didn't manage to move the votes off him by saying he'd play an idol, but Tiffany did. They're both bluffing that they'd play it. What was the difference between Tiffany and Hunter?
I think that Tiffany was so gung-ho about, I'm playing my idol no matter what. I just want to get rid of it. I don't care. I don't even feel threatened. I just don't want it in my possession anymore because it makes me a target. I don't think she even knew.
Yeah.
And I think with Hunter, it was like he was more frazzled and more freaked out and confused. And like, I think that people didn't even consider Tiffany after she was like, I'm playing it no matter what. And like, I didn't even know she was a threat. And so I think that was like, okay, never mind. Let's not even mess with that. And then it kind of moved on to Hunter, and they really just, after that, we're like, all right, it's Hunter or Q, because Q, we know Q doesn't have an idol. And so I really just think that the way Tiffany handled it and played it made it just become like an automatic. Let's not even mess around with this.
Yeah. Elizabeth, I think this is a really good question. I think so Tiffany's idol was exposed to everybody, and she then was like, hey, look, I'm just playing the idol tonight. I'm not even going to mess around. I'm playing the idol tonight. And then people were like, okay, well, if she's playing the idol, let's go and let's make a new plan. Hunter, I don't know if, nobody knew about Hunter's idol. I feel like that he told Q and Venus, and I think he told his allies, like, hey, work with me. I have an idol. I don't think he told them like, hey, I'm playing my idol tonight, no matter what. People that you think I'm going home, I'm not. I'm playing my idol. Like, I don't think that's how he was talking about it. He was like, I feel like just trying to say like, hey, I have a secret to show you. I have an idol. Let's work together. Let's work with me on this. And even they said, hey, we want to vote out Q. And I thought he was very bold to push back on, any name that's not Hunter should be fine for him. He's like, no. Ben, work with me on this. Just give me this. Just give me this. And Liz, to her credit, is like, no, we're voting for Q. That's it.
Yeah.
So Tiffany, I thought did a good job of like, hey, I'm playing my idol tonight. That's what I'm doing. Hunter was like, I have an idol. Work with me.
I almost wish that Hunter had just not told anybody he had an idol, gotten the hint that he said he was going to play it in one confessional no matter what tonight. Should have just stuck with that. He shouldn't have told anybody. He should have played it. It would have been a big moment. And then he would have chosen who went home, hopefully, unless they were always, because they didn't even suspect he had an idol. So they probably would have all voted for him. And then he would have control over who went home. And that not only did he play a successful idol, but now he has that name on his resume of somebody that he solely sent home without dispute. So I feel like that really would have been the right move. But, it's hard in the game. Things get so chaotic and confusing, and you want to hold on to it for as long as you can. And so
he got spun around that he just didn't know what was up. Again, I would love to believe that everybody was in on it. Okay. Christian has a question for you. Question for Cassidy. The cast seems to value moves and owning moves above all else. Is that a new era thing, or is that just this season? Are they obsessed with moves in a way more so than any of the other new era casts?
I wouldn't say like more. I don't know if I would say. I don't know. That's a tough question. I feel like the moves thing has been around for a while. I feel like back in the day, something like going on an immunity run, like if you win a bunch of immunities, that held a lot of weight back in the day. And the new era, it's really not about that. People don't really care, seem to hold that same weight in it anymore, at least as far as like it was for me. So I feel like the moves thing is sort of like a new era thing. I don't know if I think this cast is just afraid based off of seeing all the new era seasons, like if you don't have a resume at the end, like people could think you should win and then you just won't win. And like, so I don't know. What do you think? That's
yeah, it's interesting. So the last season they saw was 44. And that to me, I think that like going back to that conversation we were having earlier, I feel like that Jam is like one of those people where I don't know if he needed moves. I think that he was somebody who like had the thing where him just getting to the end. Yeah, you're the winner. You got to the end. How did we let you get to the end? And he had a great final tribal council as well. And so like, I think that's because there's like so much like talk about moves and maybe it's harder to like really quantify like, well, like when people say like, wow, well, why didn't you vote for this person? It's like, well, they needed this move, this move, this move, this move. And frankly, it wasn't there. So maybe that's sort of like incepting like how people are looking at like how they need to play.
Yeah.
But maybe it's a little bit more about just like, how people are explaining why they didn't vote for certain people.
Yeah. And I think that if it is this cast thing more than a general thing, it's because of what's happened in the previous seasons of the new era. Like why certain people lost and why other certain people win. I think that they're just seeing all of that. And now they're feeling like this pressure to make a move, to make big moves over anything else. I feel like that was a big thing in my season too, to be fair.
Yeah. And
like,
the game shorter and you're running out of time, and so it's
oh my god, it's myself. How do I make the bonds that I need to get people to vote for me? And I feel like maybe like you could speak to this in the other seasons, you had more time to get people to really know you and to like you and to want to vote for you at the end. Whereas with this, it's like more of like, what can you do? What can you show me in this little bit of amount of time that you have? Because like you're not with people that often post merge. I mean, your tribe you're with from the beginning, but you don't know how many of those people are even going to make it to that point where they can vote for you and if they even wanted to, because by that time you're also like sick of each other. So
yeah, I just feel like that the pace of the game though is so fast now, and I don't know how you felt like getting to the end in your game, but it like when I played in the 39-day era, like the last 10 days felt so long. Felt like everything was fun, and the last 10 days felt like that was like 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Did it feel that way at the end of the game, or did it just still feel like super fast paced all the way through to day 26?
It felt, I mean, some days would feel really long, but overall I think it felt pretty quick. It did come up really, really quick. I could see how you would feel like if I had to stay on the island past day 26 to 39, I could see how that would be like, oh my God, that would be a long time. But I think that like, there's so much going on. It's happening so fast that you don't even have time to feel like I think the time when you feel in the new era, when you feel like it's like, this is never going to end, is when you're on a winning tribe and you're not going to tribal. Like, you're just like doing the same thing day after day, kind of.
Right.
Making sure that it and then doing the 39-day season.
That makes sense because it's less people also like in the older seasons where it's like, okay, you get down to like, okay, the person who went out we got down to the final 6 on day 30. And so now it's like 9 days with like less and less people. It's an eternity. Like when there's more people around, everything is more exciting and there's more to do.
Yeah.
But, especially so, and you're starting with 6 and you spend, 12 days with 5 or 6 people. Like, yeah, I could see that could be excruciating too. Okay. All right. How about, Kanye Blessed says, did Q vote Ben just to remind us he has free will? Was Q not in on the plan, or is Q sending a message that, okay, he's doing his own thing?
I mean, I do remember somebody saying, don't tell Q or Liz the plan. So maybe he just maybe he didn't know. Maybe I don't know. Maybe he thought people told him they were voting Hunter, and then he heard about Hunter's idol. And maybe he's like, well, if everybody votes Hunter still, I honestly don't.
Yeah. Okay.
I thought Hunter voted Ben. So I didn't even think about the fact that it was Q. That was kind of random to me. Maybe he just thought Hunter was going to too, or something.
This is a really good question from B, who wants to know, how do you guys feel about Q constantly speaking about throwing challenges? And do you think he's thrown a challenge this season? Now, hold on a second, Cassidy. Wasn't Q the guy who had to vote out Jalinsky because he's quitting challenges?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I feel like Q has been a bit of a hypocrite with some of his decisions. Like, I think that he went after Jelinski for that. And then, and then I think at some point he was maybe talking about how he wanted to like leave the game. That may have been a move actually, to try to throw. I can't remember what had happened. There was one episode where it was like, oh my God, now Q's talking about quitting. But I think that he did that on purpose maybe. But then there's other times where like he had the 6, right? And then if somebody from the 6 said a name in the 6, he's like, we have to go after them now. And he's just like, there's like no room for like discussion or anything. And it's kind of like, well, you're doing the same thing. And then another person from the 6 mentioned someone and he's like, all right, well, we're going after them. I'm like, well, you're doing the same thing that you're going after them for by going, I don't know.
Sometimes the things that we don't like in other people are actually the things that we see in ourselves that we don't like.
Sometimes we don't practice what we preach, you know?
I had a question for you about if you think Liz is going to be safe going into next week.
I really don't. If it was me in the game, I don't think that I would target Liz. Yeah. I wouldn't. That wouldn't be. There's bigger fish to fry at this point.
Yeah. Okay. Kevin wants to know, will Venus and Liz be safe next episode based on the original tribe numbers, or will another Nami get the target? 3 Nami in a row. Do you think that Venus or Liz is the person to go? I think that Venus is very safe. I'm worried about Liz mostly because of the preview. Liz,
I didn't see that. What's the key?
Yeah. Okay. Liz seems like she's not taking this well. She seems like this is again another move. She really wanted Q to go home, and and he didn't go home, and she's not getting credit for the Tevin thing.
No. If Liz goes home, I think it'll be because she shot herself in the foot at this point. Like she really screwed it up for her to be sent home right now, I think. Because I don't think people are really looking at her right now.
Definitely not. People were not worried about Liz. Okay. Nicole wants to know, what did Hunter have to gain by telling people he had a secret idol? The way I see it, he could have kept it a nice little secret, made a play. Why aren't there secrets anymore, Cassidy? We get this question all the time.
That's what I said, man. Yeah, I mean, I really think that if he had kept it a secret and then just played it, it would have been a great move, and then he could have potentially dictated who went home. And you know what? If they didn't all vote for him, then whatever. It's like it's worth the risk. I think when he was so nervous about it. I don't know. I never had an idol, so I can't speak. I would like to say that I would never tell anybody about it, but I can't speak to really like how that is in the game. I do wish people would keep.
Yeah,
Hunter keeps it a good secret until the end. I'm like,
I don't know. It seems like though the hard part about not telling people you have an idol would be like when you first find it. When you're panicky, oh my God, I'm gonna play it tonight. Seems like the worst possible time to start telling people you have the idol.
Yeah, I agree. I think that that's when it becomes like before, like if they find out before, it's like it does put a target on your back. At the same time, it can sway people away from targeting you, like you said earlier. But when you're panicking, you're like, I'm gonna play. Yeah, it is. I don't know. I feel like at that point, if you're that worried, you should just not tell anybody and just play it and then make it like a whoa moment. You know, we all love those like
Wayworth does not count.
What? Like that would have been epic, you know?
Yep. Okay. Cassidy, let me bring into the podcast here somebody who has a lot to talk about tonight, and also a fellow cat lover. Yes. Taryn Armstrong is here. Hey! Taryn, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Great. Hey, another exciting Survivor tonight, Taryn.
Yes, very excited. Hello, Cassidy. I'm a big fan.
Hi. I don't know if we've had the pleasure of like actually meeting.
We have, yeah.
I have watched your videos though, so it's nice to meet you. Yeah.
Well, Rob, big double eviction tonight.
Double eviction. Okay.
Yeah. Are we back to Big Brother?
Big Brother Canada.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Okay, so double evictions. What'd you think of this tribal council tonight, Taryn?
This was fun. I mean, Survivor's crushing right now. I feel like firing on all cylinders. I mean, like even Jeff. Who is this guy? You know,
we don't even know. Could you imagine? Sassy Julie Chen Moonves.
I don't have to imagine it. She smacked Marcellus on the head.
I guess so. Yeah, a throwback. Has anybody checked in on Shannon after her #1 draft pick Hunter went down tonight?
Yeah, that I don't know how well she's going to be doing. I mean, her average draft placement might suffer here.
Yeah. Okay, not ideal. All right, Taryn's got the Big Brother Canada double eviction recap coming up right after this, so stay tuned. All right, Sam says she's not doing well in the chat. All right, thank you, Taryn. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Okay.
All right, see you
All
later.
right, bye.
Bye.
Oh, there you go. All right. Anything else, Cassidy, that you want to highlight from tonight or the season as a whole?
I don't know. I'm excited that it's getting good. I love that there's like a little bit of chaos going on.
A lot of chaos.
I think my girl Kenzie, and I'm rooting for Tiffany as well, but I think my girl Kenzie's in a pretty good spot. So that makes me happy. I also love Charlie. There's still so many people that I love that are still in the game, which
it's a strong group. Like really, like
I'm gonna enjoy the rest of the season.
Yeah, really. I mean, they did a really good job with the cast. Like really, like from the merge on, we really have had a lot of fun stuff to talk about.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, let me talk about some other things we've got going on. Okay. First off, check this out. Okay. Look, we've all heard about the Q skirt. And look, Q's got Q skirts you can get, but Mom, we have Q skirt at home too. Check out in the Rob Has a Podcast merch store. Go to robhasawebsite.com/merch. We've got a special discount on our sweatshirts. You can make your own Q skirt.
Yes.
Several dollars off our hoodies when you use the promo code Q skirt. Go to robhasawebsite.com/merch for that. Okay. Cassidy, would you wear a Q skirt?
I would wear it. Yeah. I mean, especially if it was a hoodie with Q skirt on it. Like he really could make some money off of that merch. Like let's be real.
I think so.
I think you could help on that.
Could you put the cat in the Q skirt and carry the cat
around?
I would
love that. That would be a dream come true. I think I could rock it. Like I know how to style things. I'm in fashion. So I think I could make the Q skirt work.
Q should reach out to you.
Yeah, maybe we could collab.
It would be a great moment if Q gets an idol in this season, and maybe will the idol be hidden, Cassidy, after Hunter went out with it?
That's a good question. I hope so. I mean, it would be interesting. I don't see why not. I feel
like one idol, 8 people
left.
Yeah,
that they would. I remember when I thought the idol went home in Janine's pants. Or was it no, Janine's idol went home in Dwight's pants. I woke up at 4 a.m. and I scoured the island in the pitch black. I stuck my hand into so many sketchy places and never found it. And I was like, maybe they're not hiding idols again, but it turns out obviously Jesse had it the whole time. So I think that there's hope for Q to find that. And I think it'd be interesting. Why not? I mean, I do love
he's got to, though, if he plays an idol, pull it out of the Q skirt. That'll be a huge moment.
Stop. That would be so iconic.
Q skirt sales will go through the roof. Okay.
The other players should watch out for when he wears his sweatshirt like that, because then they should know that something's with this.
All right. Thursday, of course, we got the exit interview, Survivor Know-It-Alls as well. And then we've been having the best time on Fridays talking strategy with the patrons, 3 p.m. Eastern, Robin's Podcast patron call-in show. It's been really good. It went over 2 hours last Friday. I think it'll be another good one this week. Plus everything in our Survivor podcast feed from the Purple Pants podcast, the B&B, Why Blank Lost, and Shannon Gus with our Survivor global coverage as well. robhasawebsite.com/survivor feed for all of that. Plus a Club Condo also coming up. I don't know if we have that on the schedule or not, but on Club Condo, Gabby and your friend of mine, Owen Knight, will be joining us for a special jam-packed Club Condo. Cassidy, Dondi, do you Dondi?
What's that?
Deal or No Deal Island.
Oh, you know what? I saw the first episode or two, but I kind of gave up on it. I forgot to watch anymore.
Hosted by this handsome guy, Joe Manganiello, and
is Boston Rob still in it?
Boston Rob's doing Boston Rob things. It's been great. We've got the recaps, best deal or no deal recap around, plus also exit interviews. Chappelle's talking to whoever got kicked off of Dondi each week at robhasawebsite.com. Also, that I don't know if you're a Lost fan, but we had a big guest on Rob and Kivanita podcast. Sam Moore tracked down Michael Emerson to talk with us on the latest Rob and Kivanita podcast. The Circle is also up. We've got our coverage. Taryn, Puya, and Mike Bloom are talking The Circle. Do you circle?
I did watch like a few seasons. I don't keep up with it that often. But maybe I will. Maybe I'll get back on it. I need to.
Okay.
I don't know. Really I don't watch that much TV in general, but
Okay.
I need to get back in the loop. I've been
Look, I don't put pressure on you. You don't have homework, Cassidy.
now I feel like I got Dondi on
No.
my list. I have The Circle. I mean, I have to have.
Whatever you want, or just listen to the podcast. You're
Are they any
fine.
good? Are they
Okay.
worth watching, you think?
Well, The Circle I heard was a good season. Dondi I highly recommend. The Circle I haven't seen, but I'm hearing good things. Check that out with Taryn and Mike and Puya. Plus, I'll be live after the know-it-alls on the patron Discord. I'll be jumping on to talk with our patrons on Discord after the Survivor Know-It-Alls coming up on Thursday. Of course, you can make sure you listen to all of our podcasts, however you listen to your podcast, at robhaswebsite.com/subscribe. And then we appreciate you hitting like and subscribe on YouTube. And I love to read your comments after the episode. So please don't be shy. All right, Cassidy, where can people keep up with you?
Yeah, so I am horrible at social media, terrible at being like any type of influencer or anything like that. But I do have an Instagram. That's
Yes.
really it. It's at Khaleesi. It's at on the screen right there.
Khaleesi.
That's really I have that, and then I have a Cameo, and I have a fan basis where you can connect with me if you want to schedule.
What's
like
fan basis?
Fan basis. It's like a newer platform, but basically fans can go on your profile and you offer different services. So for me, I have like a video chat. You can talk to me for 30 minutes. We can talk about how to get on reality TV, like audition advice, behind the scenes information. There's I think I have a 30-minute one on there, a 15-minute one. I have like my makeup routine on there. If anybody cares, I really don't do makeup that well, but there's like Instagram likes. And if you want me to follow you on Instagram, you can go on there. So it's really cool. It's like another step up from Cameo where fans can just interact with you more. And things like that. So yeah, it's cool. That's really all that I'm on though. Because like I said, I'm bad at social media. I had a Twitter, but I think some of us know how that went. I got off after college.
Well, it's crazy out there, Cassidy.
I just couldn't. I'm like, I need to protect my peace. So
yes. Okay. Well, I hope that it's working.
Thanks. I do have to say really quick though, I accidentally clicked the comments on a little while ago, 10 minutes ago. And I'm so glad I didn't have them on the whole video because I've just been cracking up at these.
Oh, okay, good. They can be distracting.
Mom said we have a Q skirt at home. I'm sorry. I just shout out the comments because they're so funny.
Yeah. Okay. Well, now they're going to go nuts now that they know you're reading. Okay. All right. But Cassie, I really appreciate you making the time to come on with me and talk after the episode.
Yeah, this was so much fun. Thank you for having me. I'll come back anytime you want me, Rob. So.
Okay. All right. Well, super fun. Thank you so much. We've got a busy Thursday coming up. So looking forward to all of that. Enjoy the Big Brother Canada and take care, everybody. Have a good one. Bye.